To me, that just seems like a bunch of bullshit for the amount of money that you're paying for this cruise. Now let's talk about the part of this trip that actually broke the budget. The cruise fare for our Alaska trip, including the all-in package with drinks, Wi-Fi, and specialty dining, was $3,124 per person. And by the time we had landed back home, we had spent nearly double that. Alaska was incredible. The views were stunning. If you asked us, was the cruise worth it? The answer is, well, define cruise. The ship? Well, it didn't sink. The staff? They were rude as hell and they didn't want to be there. The ports, they were horribly overcrowded. Nowhere to use the bathroom. Every shop sold the same tourist basics imported from China. And the local Alaska artisan crafts, they were neat and all, but they gave rustic lodgy vibes. And they were very expensive. There was a 3-foot high totem pole you could buy. It was $1,000. How are you going to get that home from a cruise ship? But the $3,124 cruise fare was the cheapest part of the trip, and almost nothing we paid for on top of that delivered the way we expected. We're Aaron and Todd. We create videos to inspire people to travel beyond their 50-mile bubble, leveraging credit card miles and points to offset those high travel costs. We vlog our adventures, our strategies, and bring product recommendations to our audience. If this is your jam, then guys, hit subscribe and come along. We have a goal to hit 5,000 subscribers this year. We're over halfway there, so come along for the adventure. We've shown you how to book this cruise for less. The ports, the excursions, the luggage that we've hauled through all of this, but nobody breaks down the real number. What an Alaska cruise actually costs, what the optional packages are actually worth, or whether they're worth buying at all. So in this video, the full breakdown. The base fare versus the premier package, and which one is the better bet. And finally, a specific perk that's basically a coin flip depending on when you book your cruise. The shore excursions, they cost half of what the cruise fare was. And the one trick used by the smartest people on our sailing that saved them hundreds of dollars and hours of standing in endless lines. Let's get into it. I'm gonna need to put my sunglasses on. Phew, okay, this is a little better. Look how nice it is. We're at Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. A little rain over there, but it'll be okay. Part 1, the real numbers. Let's start with what we actually paid for. The base fare, just the cruise, the taxes, and the port fees, was $2,494 per person. We added the premier package on top of that. That included drinks, Wi-Fi, fancy desserts, fitness classes, specialty dining, gratuities, photos, reserved theater seating, and this all cost $90 per day extra. That added $630 to our sailing. But since we've booked this as of January 2026, Princess has increased this premier package from $90 a day to up to $110 per day. So at the $90 a day rate, that's what we're gonna go with because that's what we paid for. Our cruise came to $3,124 total. That's the all-in number that everybody sees when they're shopping for this cruise. And then on top of that, you've got to consider your airfare getting to Seattle, the hotel the night or two before the cruise, Seattle excursions like the Space Needle and Chihuly Gardens, or the ferry that you take over to Bainbridge Island. We did all of that and it added another $2,000 to that cruise fare. Part 2, the package math. So let's talk about what the extra $630 actually bought us. Let's grade these really fast. Unlimited drink package, yeah, we used it every day. Paid for itself easily. Wi-Fi, it was really fast, and it did what it needed to do. Gratuities, here's the thing about gratuities. They're not really a perk. You're paying gratuities no matter what. They just fold them into the premier package, and you pay for it early. Photos and reserved theater seating. Yeah, we barely touched either one. It's a low value for us. But the one thing that actually matters, the one most people are buying this package for, is that unlimited specialty dining. And here's where Princess's booking system begins to crack. Specialty dining on the ship means a handful of curated restaurants. Unlimited sounds like you can eat at all of them as much as you want. What it actually means is that you're competing with everyone else on the ship who bought the same package, and you're basically competing for a table. We booked our cruise 2 years ago. We tried to book table reservations 60 days out. Every venue was fully booked, except 2. We managed to score Sabatini's and the Bistro about 30 days out once people started to rearrange their dining plans. We also did have Crown Grill, but that was already part of a group cruise reservation that was already in place. Here's why we couldn't get tables at any of the specialty dining venues. There's 2 ways to book specialty dining on the ship. The first is you book tables the moment you pay the deposit for your sailing. that's done all through the Princess app. In our case, we booked this cruise 2 years ago, so we could have booked our specialty dining 2 years ago. We waited, like many cruises, don't open the dining booking until 60 days out. Today, we have a cruise in 60 days on Virgin. Today, Virgin opened up all of the dining options so that you can select your time. So maybe that's our fault. We kind of said, okay, 60 days out, we can start booking dining reservations. No. Princess, you got to book those dining reservations when you book your cruise. If you don't book your dining reservations when you book your cruise, the only choice you have left is the day of embarkation. So when you get on the ship on that day of embarkation, do not go to your room. Do not go to the bar and get that first drink. Do not go to the Lido deck and start your vacation. No, you've got to get on the ship and go straight to guest services or go straight to the dining venue that you want a table at and see if you can get on some kind of a wait list. To me, that just seems like a bunch of bullshit for the amount of money that you're paying for this cruise. It really left a bad taste in my mouth. And if you don't know that second option is available, and you don't know to go straight there once you board the ship, that pool of unlimited dining spots, they're gone. If you miss that window, the moment you board, before you go to that cabin, before you have lunch, before anything else, go straight to the venue that you want to check and get on the list. That's the only lever that you have any control over. So add it up. Drinks, good. Wi-Fi, fine. Dining, the single biggest reason that people buy this Premier package, it's a coin flip based on when you book your cruise and if you jump on those reservations early or not. It's really not a dining problem. It's a Princess operating model problem, sold to you as a perk. Part 3, excursions, crowds, and the economical traveler. Now let's talk about the part of this trip that actually broke the budget. Excursions. We booked one, whale watching, through a third party. It was $150 a person. And that's on the very cheap end. On this same sailing, excursions ranged anywhere from $45 for a lumberjack show to $1,600 a person for private sport fishing. Dog sledding in Juneau, that was $830 a person. Sure, you get on a helicopter, they take you out to a glacier, you get on a dog musher, you ride it around for 2 miles, they bring you back, you take the helicopter back. But my God, that's a third of the price of your cruise for a 1 3-hour afternoon excursion. And here's the part that explains why everything felt so expensive and so crowded at the same time. Ketchikan. The day we were there, 6 cruise ships were in port. There is some kind of bug out there. That's over 17,000 passengers dropped into a town of 8,000 people. The next day in Juneau, 5 ships in port, about 16,000 passengers again. Sure, Juneau is Alaska's capital with a population of 32,000 people, but still, that's a lot of people dropped into a small area. And then finally, Skagway. We had 4 ships in port that day we were there. Nearly 15,000 passengers in a town of 1,000 people. 15 cruise ship passengers for every resident in one day. That's why every excursion check-in desk had a line. Every shop had a line. Every photo shop had 40 people in it. You're not imagining it. The crowd math is just not in your favor. Not just that, but where are 15,000 people going to go to the bathroom? You go to Alaska because you want to get off the ship, you want to explore Alaska, but nobody really thinks about this. While everyone else is fighting for excursion slots and standing in line in a town built for a fraction of the people who just got there, the ship is empty. The ship has free food. No waiting. The pools are open. The hot tubs are open. You have a complete run of the entire ship. The smartest people on our sailing weren't the ones who booked the $800 excursion. They were the ones who stayed on the ship. Skip the line, skip the markup. Spend a day on a nearly empty ship instead of in a town built for a fraction of people that just walked off 6 cruise ships. And they all want to go to the same place you want to go to. They all want to look at the same magnet you want to look at. They all want to buy the same size t-shirt in the same color that you want. It's just from a customer perspective, experiencing it was a huge turnoff because I felt like the cruise port was just herding cattle. It was a money grab. It's a tourist destination. Of course, that's what it is. But if they would lower the numbers, reduce the amount of people that are in the cruise port, you can have more meaningful conversations with the natives. Well, I say natives like they're some indigenous species. You can have more conversations with the locals that live in Alaska, and you can hear some of the stories, and you get a little bit more of that personal experience. And to me, I just felt like that would have been a much better experience. Hi, love.
Hello, love. Boo, princess.
Welcome to the vlog.
I brought you a cinnamon roll.
Oh, yum. So let's bring it back to the number that we started with. $3,124 per person all in. Base fare, taxes, port fees, and the Premier package. By the time we had landed back at home, we had spent more than double that from the airfare, the hotel, and the Seattle excursions before the cruise. Was this cruise worth over $3,000? We're saying no. Not because of the cruise fare, but because of everything that was stacked on top of it. The extra package that delivered on half of its promise. The expensive excursions that felt like a money grab, that they were herding cattle. And then a broken booking system that rewards whoever moves fastest and has that insider knowledge, not whoever is planning the best trip or is an Alaska first-time cruiser. Because before you book this cruise at all, there's one question that nobody is asking out loud. Is the Star Princess actually the right ship for Alaska? Well, you know us, we have run the numbers and we have looked at the data, and that's the next video. And if you're anywhere in the planning stage for an Alaska cruise, you need to watch this next video before you book anything. So if you missed episode 1, we'll leave it right here. You can see how this whole series started off, and then YouTube is going to recommend that you watch this video if you've already seen the first one. All right, guys, we'll see you over there.